All righty, we're live again on a Tuesday. I don't say morning or night anymore because it's totally irrelevant. We're here with a special guest. Woohoo! It's so exciting, so exciting. Namaste, Jeff. Namaste. So Janet and I, we're just so excited to have got to put that the LinkedIn guru on our show today. And oh my gosh, it's always so exciting to have a guest, but especially Jeff, because Jeff, I have to tell you, fondness in my heart for you. I don't know if a week goes by where we're not in the DMs chatting with each other. And so Jeff, as his background, is a professional networker. He is a LinkedIn expert. Oh my gosh, 36,000 followers. You can't keep track of you. It's like a ticker tape, you know. It's kind of like the clock, the debt clock. That's just follower clock. It's just and what's so wonderful is that everything about Jeff is volunteer. He gives for 3 payments. His payments is conversation, chocolate, and what was the other one? Coffee. Coffee. And I have to just tell a quick little story. So during the whole pandemic, I was like locked in a 2-room apartment with my husband, kind of going, how am I going to survive? So I decided I would network and get to know people on LinkedIn. Jeff, you were the very, very first person I ever had a linked out session with and Zoomed with. And I went and I did my homework before we met. And I said, what is this guy selling? What am I missing here? There was nothing to buy. There was nothing to buy. And I was shocked because I was ready for a pitch. There was no pitch, but that was so wonderful because it set the tone that linking out with people isn't about pitching. It's about getting to know people and networking and having those conversations. We just didn't have the chocolate, but we did have coffee. So that was awesome.
Yeah,
so
virtual coffee, and you haven't been able to get rid of me since.
No. And it's wonderful. We went from being, I followed Jeff, I connected with Jeff, and then now we're friends. And I'm telling you, a week does not go by where I'm not, chatting with you and just asking you questions and just saying, how are you doing this weekend? So how are you doing today up in Columbus, Ohio, right?
Columbus, Ohio is snowed in. So I got nothing else to do. So, hey, yeah, I might as well get on a LinkedIn. No, really. I've been looking forward to this for some time. I've been stalking both of you and Janet, stalking
in a nice way.
Yeah, exactly. In a very good way. I kind of miss, you went from Israel and now you're in the US and you went from being 8 time zones ahead of me to like 3 times behind me. And it's kind of like, I miss you in the mornings because you were always up and rocking and rolling in the mornings. So now I got to wait on you. It's kind of like,
it's like, wake up. It's like, poke, wake up.
Yeah. It's only 7 a.m. out in Las Vegas. I can't talk to her yet. Shucks.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's funny, Jeff, we were just talking about that yesterday, that we have to adjust our schedules and how early could we get up? Like when somebody wants to book a session with us, how early are we prepared to get up? Well, I'm in Kansas City, which is 2 hours ahead of Gillian. So, I can take those early birds, but are we prepared to be up at 5 a.m. if somebody from the UK wants to chat with us? So it's like we have to think about our business and how important accommodating our clients is. And, we are trying to figure out how early can we get up? And if we're not going to meet them on Zoom, we can probably meet with them earlier. But if we have to put the makeup on, not so much.
Yeah, but
plus you can think outside the box. And if I stay up late enough, those Brits are waking up.
Well, yeah,
you could do it that way.
It's wonderful being able to do that. I mean, that's part of the beauty of LinkedIn, is being able to network with literally the entire world, and at any time zone. I mean, right now, there are people who are just getting up in Kiwi land over in Auckland, New Zealand, and those kind of places. So it's 18 hours ahead of us. So it's very strange from that perspective. But literally, I mean, honestly, Gillian, I thought you were never, ever sleeping, because no matter when I was on, when you were in Israel, you were always there. Always there. I mean,
I don't sleep much.
Well, there may have been, the neat part about networking is that, I could be drinking coffee and you've got a glass of wine in your hand in Israel, there's a question later over there. So
it was a good way to get through the lockdown.
no kidding.
Yeah, as long as they didn't restrict her from going to the wine store, she was not going to rebel during the lockdown.
That's right. Limits. So,
all right, so let's get cracking on talking about LinkedIn for all the people that are watching today. What are those pearly words of wisdom that we're going to give? So, Jeff, I have a question because I don't know you really well, and there may be a lot of people on this call who don't know this. But, Gillian said, you have nothing to sell. So what the heck? What are you doing here on LinkedIn and giving all this time? Like, what's happening in your life? Why are you doing this?
It's right there. Okay. I am the LinkedIn guru. Okay. And I know, I had to actually, as far as coming up with a branded hashtag, I couldn't use LinkedIn guru by itself because someone else had used it. Okay. So I had to be the LinkedIn guru. And the way the comes out about is that I actually happen to be in a place there's actually one other person I know quite well who's on this call who is from Columbus, Ohio as well. One of my collaborators that I collaborate with on a monthly basis, Malka Bender. I'm going to, you just got a shout out, Malka. Okay. So there she is. Okay. So the point being is that it says it all when you look up the dictionary definition of guru, okay? Because the definition of the word guru is teacher, okay? So therefore, from that standpoint, I am a LinkedIn teacher. Now, I had to be very, very careful about calling myself a guru. I never did that. My network is who called me a guru. So I will not take that, and I'm not putting on airs. I'm not trying to, and that's enough of an introduction about me, because if anyone else wants to know what I'm about, go to my profile, okay? Scroll down to the features section and pick up the video that was done by guess who? Launch for Life. Exactly. The great company that gave me an introduction video that tells my brand better than I could tell it myself, in pictures and in music and in words. I had somebody say, I love the beat of your music the other day. It's like, we weren't sure about it.
And we struggled. We struggled with that. We tried like 10 songs and it was just like, nah, we kept coming back to it.
So, and I've been a teacher pretty much my entire life. Before I ever really even started doing a lot on LinkedIn, I was working for a nonprofit that helps people in the job search transition find a new job. And I was teaching networking. As a matter of fact, we called it Networking 101. But I actually gave it a subtitle that says networking, get started and never stop. And boy, is that true. And then LinkedIn came along, and LinkedIn is like the tool to network if you are actually in a professional environment. And so it just became better. I mean, it just made the world better.
Awesome.
Well, that's great. And it's interesting. Besides our business, I'm also a SCORE mentor where I help, and that's a volunteer situation. And I help a lot of small businesses when they're first getting started. And they all ask me, like, which social media platform should I be on? And of course, a lot of it depends on the type of business they have. And they ask me questions like, okay, if I'm going to go to LinkedIn, how do I get started? So is there any, and I've actually told them to follow you, Jeff, you would be, I said, and there is no sale here. So follow this guy. He knows what he's talking about. And you're going to pick up some good information to get yourself started. So if I'm just building my network right now, and of course, we always want to get to that magic number of 500 connections.
The badge of courage.
Yes, exactly. Are there any tips as to, how you get to that first 500 that you've noticed?
Well, you just said it, okay? Follow people. I mean, Jillian and I were talking about this. I'm not the only person who does this. And by the way, let me back up for just a second and tell you that what I'm giving here is advice, if you will, okay? But it's only advice based on how it works for me. So you don't have to take my advice. I'm a teacher that basically, I think, some of the best teachers show you where to look, but they don't tell you what to see. Okay, so from that standpoint, I'll kind of show you where to look. And in an answer to your question, I think the best thing you can do is start looking at people, following people, and finding the people that you respect or that have a good-looking profile that can answer some of your questions, and then following those people and then interacting with the content that they bring to LinkedIn will start you getting that next step, which is connections. Okay, now. Right. When I'm teaching people in the job search process who have just started out on LinkedIn and maybe they've got 50, 60 connections or something along those lines,
which is hard.
It can be, but you know what? It's just follow the basics of what you would do on a normal networking, any networking. Okay, you'd go to an event. Well, go to LinkedIn. Treat LinkedIn as a global 24/7, 365 networking event. That's exactly the way that you should approach LinkedIn. It's a party that's always going on. Okay.
I know somebody else who says that. He says, "Come to my LinkedIn. There's a 24/7 cocktail party going on."
That's true.
See, yeah. Well, and I don't know what he does for a living, but maybe he's a wine sommelier. Okay, I mean,
No, he teaches LinkedIn for insurance agents. So he works with insurance agents, telling them why they should be on LinkedIn.
And again, a lot of insurance agents I've talked to went, I don't understand LinkedIn. Why would I need LinkedIn? I sell insurance.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you need LinkedIn because it's a networking tool, and networking is like air. You need it to survive. Okay. I don't care where, and especially during COVID times, where else are you going to network? You can't, okay, sure, you can make a bunch of phone calls, but it's so much better to be able to do this, go out on LinkedIn and actually converse with somebody like this. So anyway, the steps, the first step is really simple. If you're going to connect with people, look up the people, find the people that you already know. Okay. I mean, believe me, you probably know if you've got any kind of a system or an email system of any sort, you've got 250 to 500 emails. Pretty easy, right? So there's your first 500 right there. Just go to those people, look them up on LinkedIn, figure out whether or not they're ever going to be on LinkedIn themselves. I mean, because if they're not on LinkedIn, you can't network with them on LinkedIn. Okay, but invite them to connect first because you already know them. Okay, or know them well enough. Here's a rule of thumb. If you're going to invite somebody to connect, ask yourself one question: would they return my phone call? And if they will return your phone call, they will connect with you on LinkedIn. Okay, because if they're using LinkedIn at all, that's just another method of communication. Okay.
And Jeff, if I interrupt for a moment, is that I've noticed that sometimes I'll go to connect with somebody and they don't have a banner. They haven't done anything on there. And then I pass. Even though I may know them, I pass because I figure they're not going to be a connection that's going to have any value to me. And so I just move on. Yeah. So if you don't have a banner, I'm probably not going to connect.
The profile is a really good, barometer. It's a really good finger on the pulse of whether or not anybody's actually doing anything on LinkedIn as well. Because yes, if they've been on LinkedIn for a little while and they know how to use it, they'll probably have a banner. They'll definitely have a picture, et cetera. Okay. But we all make mistakes. I mean, Janet and Gillian, I don't think I told you this one, Gillian. When I first got onto LinkedIn way back when dirt was invented, okay?
Dark ages.
Yeah. Seriously, I've been on LinkedIn since May of 2004, okay? So I've been around it a long time. And I just kind of...
Well, that's older than me. 2007 for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And you were actually one in the first million, correct?
Yeah, I was actually one of the first 600,000 people who were on LinkedIn. Wow. Being the guru, I know how to tell how long somebody's been on LinkedIn. I can look up their double secret probation member number, and I can tell you. No, seriously, I could look at both of you and give you a ballpark as to how long you've been on LinkedIn. Okay, so but talking about setting up your profile and those kind of things, it's an ongoing thing. It's a living, breathing, should be changed on occasion, kind of thing. Okay, because and that doesn't mean that just because I've been on LinkedIn for such a long period of time that I've never made mistakes on LinkedIn. Okay, my first picture on LinkedIn, because I was treating it like Facebook, was a picture of Captain James T. Kirk. And you know what? People who knew me knew to connect with me because they went, oh, yeah, that's him, the Star Trek nut. Okay. So they'd find me, right? But I was also using LinkedIn for business, if you will, and helping the nonprofits that I mentioned just a little while ago. I was representing those nonprofits because way back in time when I first put experience out there, I would say director, chairman of the board for a nonprofit this, or director of this, with a university or something along those lines. And my network fortunately kept me honest, okay? Because they came to me and they said, hey, Jeff, we really think that's cute, but would you really consider maybe representing our organization for something other than a picture of Captain James D. Kirk? And I said, yeah, I get it. That makes sense. That really makes a great deal of sense. So I changed it, okay? So I changed it to a picture with me in a shirt that said Jack Daniels. No, I'm kidding. I didn't do that. But I did change it to a more quote unquote professional picture. Okay.
Yeah, and not your dog and not your family. No. It's got to be you. It's got to be you.
If that's you, then go for it. Okay. But it should be professional. So unless you own a business called Paws of Love Treats, okay, then maybe the dog doesn't work. Okay. Because it's too much Facebook that way. And again, I'm not going to be judgmental about anybody or anybody's picture, but your picture is one of the first things that people are going to see. So therefore, that's one of the first representations you're going to have. Now, so go look for people that, first of all, go connect with, go find the people that you already know, right? Then just take the next step that says, okay, now let's go start looking at the people that they know and the people that I don't know, but I need to know. And that's another way of going out there and
working the connections of your connections.
Yep, exactly.
So kind of go deep, like go a little wide, but then go deep for each person that you know.
Exactly. Drill down on each of the people because if they like them, if they were willing to connect with them, then it's probably a good idea that you might want to as well. That's no guarantee, but maybe. Okay. Right. And so, I've gotten a lot of those kind of connections. I mean, I've got connections from people all over the world that I don't even know, thanks to Gillian and thanks to a whole bunch of other people who says, hey, you need to meet this dude or this person or this lady, and I've done the same thing for her. I introduced Gillian to the lady in India who taught me the meaning of the word namaste. Okay. She's a wonderful lady. I've been connected with her for years now. We have, again, also become friends. And I think ultimately, when you talk about networking on LinkedIn, there are lots of different reasons you want to network on LinkedIn. Some people want to network on LinkedIn because they're selling something. Perfectly fine. Okay. Some people want to network on LinkedIn because they're building a brand. They're trying, some people want to network on LinkedIn because they want to learn something. Ooh, that's me. Okay. Because even though I'm a teacher, I'm also a lifelong learner. So I get taught by people all the time. And you find so many people who are thirsty for knowledge. That's how I network with those folks because I answer their questions. I mean, in a couple of months in May, I'm going to be involved with another LinkedIn Live that will be for a friend of mine in North Carolina, and we called it Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About LinkedIn. Well, it's such a terrible misnomer. There's no way in an hour over lunch I can.
Is that a marathon? Like, are you going to just have a marathon in 24 hours?
Live-a-thon, like another person I know does. My point here being is that I can answer lots of questions, but again, I can answer those lots of questions over a longer period of time as well. And I would have much rather they'd actually called it Stump the Gurus. Okay, it's a game show. Stump the Guru. Okay. Whatever, okay, but anything that would bring them in, okay? I mean, your title here, growing your network, is something that everybody wants to do, okay?
Sure.
Now, at some point in time, you've talked to the people you know, you've connected with those people, you continue to talk with people that you don't know but would like to know, okay? At some point in time, you're going to get to that magic number, and honestly, there is no magic number. It's just because LinkedIn decided that above 500, they were going to show 500 plus and not show the real number, okay? So the real number is whatever it is above 500. If you make that, that's fine. If you're below 500, yeah, people will look at you and say, well, they don't have enough. That's not true. It's not really true. 500 is enough, okay? Less than 500 is enough if you're accomplishing what you want to accomplish.
Right. Right.
Okay. And at some point in time, as you've traveled through that process of getting the ones you know, getting the ones you need to know, and the network keeps growing, at some point in time, you're going to look up and go, wow, I got a ton of connections here. Okay. And what's going to happen is that you're going to look at that and you're going to realize another thing about networking. Okay. Your network is like a garden. It needs a little care and feeding. And the more people you have in your network, the more care and feeding that you should be giving it. But you can't care and feed for tens of thousands of people. It's just not possible. Okay. So from that standpoint, what you can do is provide information for tens of thousands of people, which is exactly what I do. But at some point in time, you're going to realize that a network is like a garden. It needs a little care and feeding, but it also needs a little pruning every once in a while. Okay. So you're going to drop out of that. And really, here's the next thing that you need to start considering. And you really should do this sooner rather than later. If you're going to start connecting with people and networking with people, you need to start considering when you add someone as a connection, what does that mean to all the other people that you've already said, I will connect with you, okay? Because every single person that you bring on, especially if you don't really know them and they've just sent you a generic invitation and they don't, you're not really sure who they are, there is a risk factor with that. There's a risk factor for you because the next thing that you get might be a DM or a message that says, hi, want to buy a watch? Okay.
Yeah.
They're going to sell you something sometimes. Not everybody, but sometimes. Okay. I'm sorry, folks. I don't sell stuff. I don't mind people who sell stuff, but I do mind people who try to sell me stuff that don't know me well enough to know whether or not I could use it or not. Okay.
Right. In the first minute of connection, that's like me asking you to marry me on our first date.
Yeah. And
when you're already married. When you're already married.
Yeah. The illustration is such, like the illustration I hear all the time is that, you would not walk up to someone at a real physical network. Remember those when we used to actually have a real physical network? Yeah. You would not walk up to somebody, hand them a business card and then run. Okay. That's the equivalent. That generic invitation is exactly the equivalent of doing that. Okay. In my mind, anyway. Don't get me wrong. Here again, my advice works for me. There are other people out there that say, oh, I don't care. Send me an invitation. I don't care if it's generic or otherwise. I'm going to hit this. I'm going to hit the connect button. Okay. No problem. If that's the way you want to work it, that's perfectly fine. It works either way. But you have to understand that it's sooner or later, one of these days, you're going to go look at your homepage feed, and guess what you're going to see a lot of? That 4-letter word that begins with S. No, not that one. Spam. Okay. There's going to be a lot of spam in your homepage feeds because you connected to the wrong people, and they're putting spam out there on LinkedIn. You don't want that to really happen. And oh, by the way, there's all kinds of methods of getting rid of that without disconnecting with the person. If you want to stay connected with the person, that's great. Okay. But you can unfollow them. You can tell LinkedIn that you want to never see this kind of information post again. There's all kinds of, under what I call the magic 3 dots, okay, on every single post, click that as magic 3 dots and look at the possibilities of unfollowing or reporting the post or et cetera. Okay. So my point is you've got control, and you can be as flexible and as open as you want, or as, I won't use the word closed, but as caution.
Trim.
Say it again.
A trim garden, like finely pruned.
Yeah. And again, that's kind of the way I look at it. But, for me, the amazing thing is that honestly, I find a lot of people who don't understand the difference between connection and following somebody. There's still a lot of people out there that don't know the difference. Some people don't even know that you can follow somebody. Okay. And some people don't even realize that if you go to your feed and somebody sent something, commented on something, you're going to see a lot of stuff on your feed that is not from people you are connected with. Hey, what's wrong with starting the conversation with them in the feed? That's networking.
That's the best place.
Yeah.
That's the best place to network.
Well, yeah, because then you're actually going to start to see what they say. They'll say something back, or maybe they won't. Okay, well, that didn't work. Let's go on. I'll find somebody who maybe wants to talk. Okay. So if you're continuing to do that and spend a few minutes every day interacting with your feed, you're going to start to get those conversations, just like Jillian and I started our conversation. Okay, and that will lead to you following one another. That will lead to you looking at their stuff. As a matter of fact, there's a group of, I shouldn't say it this way, but there's a group of, let's just say, I won't call them favorites. Well, it is actually a favorite. It's a bookmark. So they call those favorites, right? Okay. But I've got bookmarked on my desktop browser about 25 different people that I like to go to on a consistent basis. And I'll just go to look at their posts because
like your core
exactly,
group.
That's my networking core. Okay. And Jillian, you're one of them. And you know, the people that you and I both respect are high on that list as well. Okay. And I meet new people like that all the time. So that's kind of an ever-growing and ever-changing list as well. But I want those people bookmarked because I want them one click away. I want to go bang, click and see their stuff so that I can start to interact with it. Okay.
That's great.
In my mind, it's respecting what they have to say, which is what you would do with someone you normally, want to network with, right? It makes perfect sense to me.
Well, and I know that one of our mutual connections once said, have those conversations in the news feed. Like if you have questions, ask people who you follow. Don't send them always a DM. Make it a public conversation because you're more likely to get that person to answer it. But it's also then for the benefit of everyone can see the answer. So it's kind of like, why message them personally? Ask it in the comments, and then they might stimulate a whole post, a whole video, a whole other conversation. And then it's a win-win because then everybody benefits.
Absolutely. Everybody gets the chance of seeing it, and everybody learns, and you learn. I mean, more than anything else, you're gonna gain from the experience because you are going to gain from that person's experience that they share. Okay.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, there are a lot of times, and I hate to do this sometimes because I know that there's a gentleman over in the UK that posts, I think you know who I'm talking about, the guy who does the morning beat, okay?
Oh, yeah.
The music, does the music post every single day. Sometimes I'm cautious about actually making too many comments on his feed because I feel like I've taken over his feed.
My post.
Yeah, it's like having a separate side conversation over here. I got 3 or 4 people going through this conversation all at the same time, and he's one of them. But I don't want to feel like, well, okay. Here's a little bit of networking etiquette for you on LinkedIn as well. Okay, liking something's great. Commenting on something is a whole lot better. Okay, but here's the thing about commenting. Don't comment, okay? If you're going to network correctly on LinkedIn, don't comment and all your comment says is 2 words. Nice post.
Great.
Duh. Yeah, boy, that's exciting. I'm so glad you liked it. Okay. And I used to get a little, I don't anymore, not really. I never got really peeved at people. But when someone would like something and not comment on it, it always brings the question to mind. I wonder what they liked about it. Okay. If they had just told me, we would have started a conversation, right? Okay. Now here's the other little piece of etiquette that I see some people that I know, like, and trust sometimes doing it badly. Okay. They will comment and they will put a link to
their stuff,
their own, in the other person's post.
That's like a hijack. That's like
That's
a hijack.
Kind of rude.
Right?
That's rude.
I think so too, Janet. I totally agree. But some people just don't think that way.
Yeah.
They honestly, I get it. I figure they're probably trying to be helpful. But
right.
So I will never put a link to something I would want to share outside of this person's post unless I've checked with the person. Is it okay? Okay. So I might actually say something in a comment that says, I have a link. Would it be okay if I posted that? Okay. Or,
you've done that with me. You've done that with me, and it was really appropriate and it was really helpful. And I really appreciated that etiquette of like, is it okay, Jillian, if I add this? And I was like, yeah, go ahead. That's great. You were the first person to ever do that.
Well, it's a little strange, right? Maybe not a lot of people end up doing that, but most people don't post links either. They just post comments, which is okay. You join the conversation. That's enough for me. Okay. Now I probably wouldn't ask you, Gillian, if I were actually posting on one of your posts and somebody said, wow, that's a cool video, and I would actually, put my link in there and says, you want to see a cool video, get Gillian, get Launch for Life, Janet and Gillian, to give you one of these. Okay.
Right.
Here's my illustration of your work. That's why it's okay. It's your work, and I'm giving you credit for it. Okay. And
I think you also taught me that if somebody makes a spammy comment, that you can do something about it. You don't have to, like, I think you one time said, hey, that was totally inappropriate what that guy just did on your thing, and you told me that you have options, sort of like you can delete it or hide it or report it.
Yeah.
And those are important things that I don't think people often know, that, like you said, growing your network is also about being mindful of your pruning of your comments too. So if you get something nasty, you should get rid of it.
Yeah. And as the author, okay, if you authored the post, you have the ability to delete it. If you're not the author of the post, you have the ability to use those magic 3 dots again. It's all under those 3 dots. Okay. There's magic 3 dots to say, this is inappropriate, report it. Okay. Etc. So, and I wish LinkedIn did a better job of that, but they can't. I mean, there are huge, literally billions of posts every single day. So there's nobody. LinkedIn is not out there to be the LinkedIn police. LinkedIn is a company out there to make money. Okay. And they're out there to make money because they sell product. Perfectly fine as well. Okay. They're not making any money off of me. But actually, hopefully I'm actually helping them make money, because I'm showing people how to actually use this tool and bringing more people to the tool, so that I'm telling people, this is the best thing since sliced bread and night baseball. Go for it. Okay, give it a shot.
Right.
I'm advertising for LinkedIn.
So would you say So would you say with networking in general that it's like we should also be open to, when we network with people, those people may not, like if you're a job seeker, this person might not have a job for you, but they might know someone. So always recognize that you're not just connecting with one person, you're connecting with a whole network, which is why it's important to grow your network as well.
Which is why I want to respect someone, the rest of my network, when I connect with someone in the first place. And that's absolutely right. I mean, that honestly is the actual epitome of, and I don't care whether you're selling something, or whether you're looking for a job, or whether you're trying to build a brand, or whether you're trying to build a company, etc. Okay, that's actually the epitome of networking on LinkedIn. I think one of the best things that you could ever do to network on LinkedIn is find someone who's got a need, find someone who can fulfill that need, and introduce the two of them.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it's just the right way to do things in real life, in LinkedIn life. Okay, so in me loco LinkedIn. Okay, was that right? I don't know. That was close enough. Mi vida loco, I think, is my crazy life. Me LinkedIn loco. Yeah, my crazy LinkedIn.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh, that's all. Yes, thank you. I gave you that idea.
I did. I just thought it would be kind of cute. I thought it would be kind of cute to show that the last little bit. So
that's perfect.
Yeah. Any questions, Gillian? I know a lot of people have just popped in and said hi, and life is freezing wherever they are.
Oh, look, it's our lovely Catherine Ledger.
Catherine.
She's here with her little heart. Yay. She's also an excellent storyteller. She does business storytelling. We got to get her on our show too. Catherine's great.
Outstanding. Nice to see you.
Yes. So I guess we probably should wrap up, Janet?
Yeah, we try to keep these so about 30 minutes. That's our promise. Sense. Yeah, and just bite size. But I think this has been wonderful, Jeff. And it's what I try to tell people, but sometimes they need to hear it from somebody other than me. And I'm still a work in progress when it comes to LinkedIn. And
I think
And
we
I
all
think
are.
we all are, and we just have to continue to get better. And Jillian's taught me a few new tips that I have to go and apply. And I've been on LinkedIn longer than Jillian, but to her credit, she has grown her connections at a quicker rate. Like just this past year, I guess that's what happens when you're in lockdown in Israel. And
well, and it's all about the creating of the value, and that was the quickest shift I made from being on LinkedIn of just trying to, get to know people to providing value. When I started leading with value, that changed things. So I think that's also a really big part of networking. It's not about what you can get, it's about what you can give. And I think the more you give, to be honest, Jeff, I think that's why so many people do follow you. It's because you're just freely giving advice, you're giving tips. Anybody who is seeing this and has never met you before, please follow Jeff. Just click on him, go and click on follow. He has an excellent newsletter that's, kind of the coolest thing about LinkedIn is these newsletters now. And you have the newsletter and you have the tip of the week and you have a company page, and, just Google the LinkedIn Guru and you're going to go to your little FYI website that has all your past posts, and there's just so much. And I made a special video about follow this LinkedIn leader, so I'll put a link to that because I can hijack this.
You
with my
reminded
link.
me of that. I was going to thank you again. I was going to thank you again for that as well. I mean, that's the whole spirit of things, the giving of those kind of things. And I on purpose stayed away from that particular piece of networking because honestly, long before LinkedIn, a very nice person that I saw do a presentation did a presentation that had the letters of network, NETWORK, and he had an acronym that that each of them meant something. I won't go into all of them. That's ridiculous. It would take too long. But the whole one that it starts with is the N in networking stands for never stop giving. Okay. And if you do, you are going to get so much back. I guarantee it. Okay. I'm living proof of it.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I'll end now. So thanks for being with us today, Jeff, and namaste.
Namaste, Jeff. Thank you. Have a great Tuesday.
Thank you for having me on.
Our pleasure. It was fun.